The Scholastic Games of Lorain County welcome Sophia Calez, Holly Mariner, and Caitlin McComas, the team from Clearview High School. And the opposing team, Serena Owens, Noah Webster, and Tristan Magel, the team from Keystone High School.
It's the award-winning Scholastic Games of Lorain County, a weekly academic competition featuring quiz teams from area high schools, now in its 31st year. Produced with funding from the Norsen Corporation, from the Alfred T. Askew Fund, administered by the Community Foundation of Lorain County, and from the Nord Family Foundation with support from the Community West Foundation, and presented on WEOL by the Elyria Public Library System. Now here's your quizmaster, Jim Merling.
Thank you very much, David Mark. Well, something a little bit different this year. Our first program using Zoom. So we hope for the best. Our teams for this, our first program of the year, Clearview and Keystone. And we'll begin the competition right after we hear the rules. Back to David Mark.
We call this the initial round because it's first, and because every answer will begin with the same letter. Each team will be asked 5 questions, and each answer will have a 10-point value, except for one randomly placed plus points question. That one's worth 20 points. The questions are assigned to the teams by numbers selected by a team captain. Jim?
Thank you, David. We're going to go to Keystone, the team that won the toss, and Serena Owens, the captain there. Serena, do you want to go first or second?
Yeah, we'll go first.
First, okay. Serena, we need 5 numbers between 1 and 10.
We'll go numbers 1 through 5.
1 through 5, all right. And as I said, D is the letter. All the answers begin with that letter. Name the 4-sided spinning top used in games of chance played by Jewish children and adults at Hanukkah. It starts with D.
Dreidel.
And dreidel is correct. Number 2, what's the Iowa city that shares its name with both a large sofa and a type of compact writing desk? An Iowa city that shares its name with both a large sofa and a type of a writing desk. A city in Iowa that you... And, well, there's not a desk called Des Moines, so we'll have to rule that in. Davenport is the answer. Moving on, what is the learning disorder marked by impairment of the ability to spell, recognize, and comprehend written words, and difficulty in sounding out written text, usually by persons of normal, often high intelligence?
Dyslexia.
That is dyslexia. What is the serious throat infection for which children are generally immunized against by DPT vaccine? The vaccine also immunizes against pertussis and tetanus. So what does the D stand for in the DPT vaccine, a throat infection? And we'll have to call time on that. That's diphtheria is the answer, and you have one more in this round. What's the term for the principal method of purifying liquid compounds, a combination of boiling and condensation to achieve purity? A principal method of purifying liquid compounds.
Distillation.
And distillation is right. And the rest of the questions in this round go to the team from Clearview. Again, all the answers begin with D, and here are the remaining questions for the Clearview team. What is the name for the group of 8 small islands in the Gulf of Mexico that belong to Florida? Along with the surrounding waters, they make up a national park of the same name. A group of 8 small islands in the Gulf of Mexico, part of Florida, that start with the letter D. It's also a national park. And with no response, we'll have to give you the buzzer. The answer is the dry tortugas. Name the top portion of the small intestine that serves to further digest food passed from the stomach to the more common area. It's the common area for ulcers to develop as well. The top portion of the small intestine.
Duodenum.
And that's it, yeah. The duodenum or the duodenum, both are acceptable pronunciations. And you happen to grab the plus points question, which scores 20 if you get the answer. Who is the author of Robinson Crusoe? In addition to novels, he also wrote many political tracts, even did time in prison for some of them. But his most famous work is Robinson Crusoe. The author, whose name starts with D, in fact, his first and last name start with D, with no answer, it's Daniel Defoe. Moving on, what name is given to trees that drop their leaves in the fall? 4 syllables, starting with D. Trees that drop their leaves when the cold weather comes, and with no answer, it's deciduous trees. And one more in this round. What's the mechanical device on an automobile that permits one drive wheel to turn faster and farther than the other drive wheel in order to achieve balance in turning? It's a gear train consisting of 3 shafts with reduction and rotational gears, but it's got a name that starts with D. No auto mechanics in the group, apparently. That's the differential, and that's the end of this round. David, I think, will come in and give us the score.
After one round, the score is Keystone 30, Clearview 10.
Okay, and no thunderous applause because we're all at home in this, our first Zoom program. But we'll continue with current events after a short break.
Did you know that 10% of those living in poverty experience homelessness? Help the homeless today at SucksPlus.org. Sucks Plus is an initiative of Community West Foundation that helps homeless people in Greater Cleveland by collecting socks, boots, clothing, and more for their neighbors in need. Help the homeless today by visiting SucksPlus.org to learn more. Anyone can give. Anyone can help. SucksPlus.org to help today.
Now the rules for round 2 from David Mark.
Our second round will feature questions from current events and issues. As in round 1, the first team will select its questions by number to guarantee random assignment. Each team will hear 5 questions. Each correct answer will be worth 10 points, except for one plus points question worth 20 points. Jim?
The Keystone team is visible on our Zoom and should be audible very soon to our listening audience on the radio. Keystone, again, is the team that won the toss. We go to Serena Owens, the captain, for 5 numbers between 1 and 10. They can be the same or different.
We'll go with all evens.
Again, all these questions come from current events. Now for the team from Keystone, here's your first one, which just happens to be a plus points question. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2020 presidential election was a highly charged affair. Some political analysts believe the first national presidential debate had a strong impact on the on the electorate. Where was that first debate held last fall? The first of the presidential debates. Does anyone remember?
Cleveland?
Oh, well, okay. You said it right over the buzzer, but we'll accept that as because it was in Cleveland. So that's we'll give you a bell for that. It was in Cleveland. Your second question. COVID-19 vaccinations were moving slowly in Lorain County as the month of January began. According to Health Commissioner Dave Covell, what institutions have been the first to receive initial doses of the vaccine?
Healthcare workers.
I think we'll have to accept that. Judges have any objection to that?
No objection. No objection. That's fine.
No objection.
So we've got a correct bell. A decision was recently rendered in the highly publicized case of a police shooting last August in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The incident prompted protests and demonstrations across the country. Jacob Blake was badly wounded in the course of his arrest. What was the final determination of the district attorney regarding the police action in Kenosha, Wisconsin? Reviewing some of the big stories of last year. What did the district attorney do with regard to the police action? And with no response to that, we'll have to rule an incorrect. He decided not to file charges because he feared Blake was going to stab him with the knife that he was holding. The next question, this past Christmas Day, a bomb hidden in an RV killed an urban terrorist, injured 3 other persons, and damaged 41 buildings, including a telecommunications facility. The motive was unclear. What American city was the target of that bomber? The bomb hidden in a van in downtown what city?
Nashville?
It was in Nashville, Tennessee. And your final one, in a battle against the coronavirus, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced that local emergency management agencies in each Ohio county will be announcing how vaccines will become available. He's hoping to get students back in classrooms by having all eligible teachers and school staff receiving vaccines beginning on what date? You figured that maybe you've been paying attention to such things. The date that teachers and staff will begin receiving the vaccine, according to the governor.
February 22nd.
And actually, it's before that. He said February 1st. Your answer is probably closer to what the reality will be, but February 1st is the date that he gave. And so the remaining questions will go to the team from Clearview. And you get the odd numbers, beginning with number 1. The coronavirus had to be the top story of 2020. Where were the first known occurrences of the COVID-19 virus?
Wuhan.
Wuhan, China is absolutely right. Your first score. Your second was an audio question. 2020, a year that had great impact on all branches of government. One voice in the news the past year.
My life, I got out of law school. I have top grades. No law firm in the city of New York will hire me. I end up teaching. As I said before, they gave me time to devote to the movement for evening out the rights of women and men.
Those are reflections of what woman who passed away in September, and where did she serve in the federal government? We need name and job.
Ginsburg Supreme Court.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is correct, and of course, Supreme Court Justice. And another audio, you just happen to get the audios this time. 2020 was a year of many firsts. Kim Eng was the subject of one of them.
I got a little bit overwhelmed just in terms of, realizing that it had been so many years in the making and it was finally here.
In what major professional sport was she named to be the first general manager to run a team?
Football.
And I'm sorry, it was baseball, Major League Baseball, the Miami Marlins. So no score on that one. And your next one is the other audio in this round, the last one. In 2020, America lost a towering figure of the civil rights movement when this son of a sharecropper passed away.
When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary.
He walked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in civil rights marches in the late 60s and rose to become the conscience of the Congress. Who was this civil rights giant?
John Lewis.
John Lewis is correct. One more question in this round. In a special runoff election for 2 U.S. Senate seats in the state of Georgia on January 5th, both Democratic Party candidates emerged victorious. Why were these victories nationally significant beyond the state of Georgia?
It would give power to Senate.
Yeah, right. The Democrats. Yeah, majority in the Senate went to the Democrats. And that's the end of round 2.
At the end of 2 rounds, the score is Keystone 70. Clearview has 50 points.
Thank you, David Mark, and we will continue with our third round, which is normally our first buzzer round, but we're going to be alternating between the teams once again as we get into that after a short break.
The world has changed in ways that none of us ever could have anticipated. But despite those challenges, brighter days are ahead. Sometimes planning for your future can provide the hope we all need right now. Make this your year. Lorain County Community College is here to keep you moving forward. We have hundreds of online classes designed to get you closer to your degree. Credits are guaranteed to transfer, so enroll today. We are here for you.
We continue now with both teams visible on our Zoom. Here are the rules for round 3.
The third round has 10 10-point questions like rounds 1 and 2, but all questions will be related to a particular theme. Like earlier rounds, 5 questions will be directed to each team, this time with a set of questions selected by the other team, as the captain selects odd or even numbered questions. A big difference in this round: when there is an incorrect answer or no answer from the team to which the question is directed, the other team will have a chance to answer it. Again in this round, there will be 1 randomly placed plus points question. Jim?
Thank you, David. In our third round, where we're going to the team that did not go first in the first two rounds, we're going to Clearview, and we're letting Caitlin decide at this point. Sometimes in this round, we will just alternate teams, and other times we will allow selected numbers, and let's do that method this time. Caitlin, if you could, give us 5 numbers between 1 and 10 for this round.
Let's just do 1 through 5.
Okay, makes it easy for me. And I do have all 10 in front of me this time. This theme is one we haven't done before. It's called Add a Letter, Change the Meaning. It's a series of very short words, which if you add just one letter at the end of the word, it becomes a completely different word with a completely different meaning. I'll define the first word and then define the second, and you need to name both words to get the answer correctly. Here we are with the first, a verb meaning to allot. The second word, the name of a unit of length. A verb meaning to allot. The second word, the name of a unit of length. We have a chance to think in this round. Unlike later ones, I think. And the words are meet and meter. So we'll move on to the next one and see if you can score on that. The state of one's frame of mind is the first word, a 6-letter word, and a water-soluble paint is the second, the 7-letter word, the same 6 being the same. The state of one's frame of mind and a water-soluble paint. And again, we'll have to call time, temper, and tempera paint, the water-soluble kind. Here's one starting with a 3-letter word, an animal pen, and an ocular ailment is the second one. A pen for a certain animal.
Sty and sty.
Sty and sty, that is correct. And the I type is sometimes spelled S-T-Y-E, which would make it for this round, although sometimes it's spelled S-T-Y as well. The next one is the plus points question. Part of a window blind or a list of candidates. This one scores 20 if you get it. Part of a window blind, a certain type of blind, or a list of candidates for office. Just one definition of each. Both nouns. And we'll have to call time, I'm sorry to say. Slat and slate. Those are the 2 words. And this is my favorite from the selection of 10 that we have. Thinness and sticky goo. Thinness, which would be an adjective, and sticky goo, which would be a noun. The first is a 4-letter word, the second 5. Say it.
Slim and slime.
Slim and slime is correct. Another score for the team from Clearview. And now we go to Keystone for the other 5, which are as follows. A 4-letter word going to a 5-letter word, a male deer, and a performance space.
Stag and stage.
Stag and stage is correct. How about a verb meaning to tear and an adjective meaning fully developed?
Rip and ripe.
Rip and ripe is right. One who speaks an Indo-European language or a person owned by another. The first one is a man.
Slav and slave.
And that is correct, Slav and slave. Something you enjoy or money for a cause. That's the next one. The first one is a 3-letter word, and the second is 4. Something you enjoy or money for a cause. Could be a good cause or a negative cause. And we'll have to call time on that one. Fun and fund. Okay, and the last one is something you pay or something you might ride in. Something you pay, maybe, and something you might ride in.
Tax and taxi.
Tax and taxi are the two words. Well, that went pretty well, I think, and whether it did or not, that's the end of the round. David?
After 3 rounds, Keystone has 110 points. Clearview has 70.
And we move right along. Our highest scoring rounds are ahead, so stay with us. Before we go into the next round, it's time to allow the students to tell us a little about themselves and their schools, whatever they want to tell us, one at a time. We're going to start first with the team that won the toss, which I believe was Clearview, and Caitlin McComas is our captain.
Hi, my name is Caitlin McComas. I'm a senior at Clearview. I am the captain of the Scholastic Challenge team, president of the band, vice president of student council, and a thespian. I'm also a member of the bowling team, a member of Youth for Youth, and National Honor Society.
Very good. And who should be next? How about Holly?
Hi, my name is Holly Mariner. I'm a sophomore at Clearview High School. I'm in drama, member of Youth for Youth. I am treasurer of student council and treasurer of the sophomore class.
And one more member, Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia Calez. I am a sophomore at Clearview. I do drama. I'm in Youth for Youth, and I play softball.
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, that is our team from Clearview High School. And there would be a thunderous applause if we were in a room with a lot of people. But let us just go on and meet the team from Keystone now. And the captain there is Serena Owens. Serena, take it away.
Hi, my name is Serena Owens. I'm a senior at Keystone High School. I am a part of the honors choir. I am class secretary. I am a member of the National Honor Society, and I'm planning to go to college for computer science.
Thank you. Tristan Magel is our next contestant, our next victim in this part of the show.
Hi, my name is Tristan Magel. I'm a junior at Keystone. This is my second year of Academic Challenge, and I play track, or I run track, and I run cross country.
Hi, my name is Noah Weaver. I am a sophomore at Keystone High School. This is my second year in Academic Challenge, and I play the bassoon in the band.
And now we're all ready to go back to David Mark and the rules for our next round.
People, places, and things are the focus of this round, in which 5 famous people, events, institutions, or famous locations will be described, each with a series of clues of decreasing difficulty. This is traditionally a buzz-in round. In the absence of buzzers, when a team is ready to answer, any team member may interrupt the clue by calling out the name of the team or school. It will stop the asking of the question. An answer coming from the first clue is worth 50 points. After 2 clues, it's worth 40 points, and it diminishes to 30, 20, and 10 points as succeeding clues are required. After either team gives an incorrect answer, that team is eliminated from that particular item, and only the other team may respond and score from the remaining clues. If both teams call out simultaneously, and the judges cannot determine which was first, the subject of that series of clues will be discarded.
Well, we're hoping, David, for not too many discards. We seem to have discovered before the program that the first person to speak often gets the only audio that's available. So maybe that'll help us now. Again, give the name of your school when you think you have an answer, and hopefully do, because if you give a wrong answer, the other team gets all the other clues that we need. This first one is a place. For 50 points, Mount Mitchell, more than 1.25 miles high, is not only the highest peak in this state, but the highest in the eastern United States. Mount Mitchell. For 40 points, it was one of the original 13 colonies. Presidents Andrew Johnson and James Polk were both born in this state. For 30 points, the original inhabitants were the Cherokee and Tuscarora Indians.
Clearview?
Okay, Clearview has jumped in. What's the
North
state?
Carolina.
And it is North Carolina, which is a score of 30 points. That was in the middle of the 30-point clue. So we move on to our next item, which is a person for 50 points. He was born in Britain's Blenheim Palace in 1874. The palace had been built for the original Duke of Marlborough, of whom he was a descendant. For 40 points, he was in fact the biographer of his ancestor, the Duke. In the 1890s, he saw 3 campaigns as a British cavalry officer. For 30 points, later in his career, he was to win the Nobel Prize in Literature for his comprehensive work, The History of the Second World War. For 20 points, though he was multifaceted, politics was his first love. He entered Parliament in 1901, became Home Secretary in 1910. As First Lord of the Admiralty, was political head of the Royal Navy during World War I. And finally, and that's, I'm sorry, that was that? That was Keystone and Noah Weaver, and Churchill is the correct answer, scoring 20 points. I would have mentioned he coined the term Iron Curtain and was Prime Minister during World War II in our 10-point clue. It should have given it to just about everybody, but Noah scored with 20 points for Winston Churchill. Moving on to another person. For 50 points, this French inventor was born in 1809. He died in his early 40s and was known for only one invention, but it has helped millions of people worldwide. And you're pretty sure you know his name. For 40 points, he suffered an eye injury which blinded him at the age of 3, but he devoted himself to the study of music and became an organist in Paris. That's not what he's famous for, though. For 30 points, from his teens, he was also a teacher of the blind, after he had attended a special school. For 20 points, there he had learned about a system called night writing and soon developed an improved system of his own. And for 10 points, in 1829, he published a book which explained his raised dot system.
Keystone?
Well, Keystone was a shade ahead and then Clearview, but I heard Keystone first, so what's your answer?
Braille?
Louis Braille is correct, and that's a 10-point clue. We mentioned the raised dot system the blind can use for reading, writing, and musical notation, and that's who we were going for. We have a second person here in our next item for a 50-point clue. This, born in 1924, his first novel, published in 1953, was written in France, but based on his own experiences as a young storefront preacher in New York's Harlem. For 40 points, dissatisfied with life in America, he had moved to France at age 24, not to return until he was in his 50s, when he joined the civil rights movement. For 30 points, most of his books passionately depicted the horrors of racial discrimination in the United States. His first novel, mentioned in our first clue, told of the religious awakening of a black teenager. Its title is Go Tell It on the Mountain, taken from the name of an old spiritual. For 20 points, in addition to his novels, including Giovanni's Room, which was about a gay relationship, and Another Country, he was an essayist and authored noteworthy nonfiction books such as Notes of a Native Son and The Fire Next Time.
Clearview?
And Clearview has an answer.
James Baldwin?
James Baldwin is right. Another 20-point answer for Clearview this time. And we would have mentioned his plays, The Amen Corner and Blues for Mr. Charlie, in our 10-point clue, but that was 20 for Clearview. And just one more item, if we can get through it. It's a place for 50 points, this clue. The earliest civilization in this present-day country flourished in the 8th century BC. They called themselves the Rasena, or Razna. The center of their empire was in the northern section of what is the country today. For 40 points, barbarian invasions in the 5th century BC destroyed much of the Western Empire and the country's unity for a time. For 30 points,
Keystone.
Keystone, and that's Noah Weaver with an answer.
Rome.
We're going for a country, so that becomes an incorrect answer. So we'll go to Clearview since they were just a bit behind you. Say it again. Italy is the answer. Yeah, yeah. Italy we were going for. I'm sorry about the technicality of that, but we were describing Italy, and we would have given a lot more recent history, but we certainly didn't need to. And that's our fifth item. So that's the end of this round. Back to David for the score.
At the end of 4 rounds, the score is Clearview 160, Keystone 140.
Tiffin University is a proud sponsor of the Scholastic Games. Picking the right university is a challenge, and you'll find an academic excellence backed not only by our regional and national accreditation, but also by every one of us at the university, from the president to our excellent faculty. Tiffin University offers a variety of majors from accounting to homeland security that will bring out the best in you. Our criminal justice majors are renowned throughout the nation, and the Bachelor of Business degree is both regionally and nationally accredited. The Tiffin University experience is a rewarding one. The minute you set foot on campus, you'll feel the difference. You'll know that you are home. Remember, fit is important, so why not try us on? To set a time to tour our campus or to find out more about Tiffin University, call us 1-800-YOU-OHIO. That's 1-800-686-6446. Or look us up on the web at www.tiffin.edu.
This program, the Scholastic Games of Lorain County, is produced with the support of the Community West Foundation, with funding from Norton Corporation, the Nord Family Foundation, and the Alfred T. Askew Fund, administered by the Community Foundation of Lorain County. We're presented on WEOL by the Elyria Public Library System.
We'll get to our final round in just a moment. First, I want to give a plug to all of the colleges and universities that have supported our Tuition Credit Award program. We thank Ashland University, Baldwin-Wallace University, Tiffin University, Oberlin College, Heidelberg University, Ursuline College, John Carroll University, Lake Erie College, Lorain County Community College, the University of Findlay, and in connection with this particular program, Clearview High School will be receiving a tuition credit award of $1,000 to Lorain County Community College and another from the University of Findlay, and Keystone High School will be receiving a $1,000 tuition credit from Tiffin University and from the University of Findlay. Now back to David Mark for the rules of our final round.
This is our fifth and final round in today's competition. This program is heard on WEOL 930 on the AM dial, and this round will consist of 9 minutes and 30 seconds of toss-up and bonus questions. Toss-up questions will be directed to the two teams in alternation, beginning with the team that went second in the first 2 rounds. When a toss-up question is heard, a team that answers correctly will earn 10 points, plus an opportunity to hear and answer a bonus question, which can earn that team an additional 20 points. When an incorrect answer is given, the team will lose 10 points, and the other team will be given a chance to hear the entire question and score accordingly. When a team answers the other team's question, the following toss-up question will still be directed to that team. There are no deducted points for missed bonus questions.
Oh, isn't that nice? Well, that ethereal sound will end and tell us that the end of the 9.5 minutes have arrived, and it's the end of the round and the end of the contest. Thank you, Bob Tayak, our judge number 1, who will be keeping time and running the timers. And here are the questions, beginning with number 1 for Clearview. What republic on the northeast coast of South America was formerly called Dutch Guiana? Question for Clearview, if they have it. And with no response from Clearview, Keystone may answer if they know what it is. The Republic of South America, formerly known as Dutch Guiana. And no answer there either. It's Suriname. So we'll go to Keystone with question number 2. Ne sais pas means what in French? N''EST-CEPAS. Ne sais pas means what in French? And I did not hear anything, so it's open to Clearview. And no answer there either. It means it is not true, not to be confused with je ne sais pas, which is I don't know, which might have been a correct answer to that question. Moving on, the next question for Clearview is this one. What planet that is mostly yellowish in color takes 29.46 Earth years to travel around the sun? A planet sort of yellowish in color, but it takes almost 29 and a half Earth years for one of its years.
Saturn.
And it is Saturn. And so Clearview wins the bonus question, which is, what planet was named for the Roman god of farming?
Oh, Saturn.
And that's Saturn as well. Okay, that scores 20 bonus points to Clearview. The next question goes to the team from Keystone. This is an audio question. A reading. Who is the author of this passage?
This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks, bearded with moss, and in garments green, indistinct in the twilight, stand like druids of eld, with voices sad and prophetic.
That's from what American epic poem? It begins with the words, "This is the forest primeval," an epic poem by an American poet, Longfellow, based on a story of a young Acadian woman and her lost love. And again, that's a question for Keystone, if they have it. And with no answer, how about Clearview?
Evangeline?
Correct. And the bonus question for the Clearview team is, the Acadians, descendants of French settlers and Native Americans, were dispersed by the British, the largest number ending up in Louisiana. What ethnic group is comprised of their descendants today? Of the Acadians. And they are, with no answer, they are the Cajuns, known as the Cajuns, which is derived from Acadians. So let us move on. The next question goes first to Clearview. What's the term for the type of energy that a body possesses in motion? A body in motion has what kind of energy?
Kinetic.
Kinetic energy is correct. The score for Clearview, and the bonus question is, what's the term in physics describing the amount of motion an object has? If it's linear motion, it's defined as the product of mass and velocity. The amount of motion an object has.
Momentum.
Momentum is correct for 20 bonus points to Clearview. Again, to Keystone, with the stipulation that he did it in one trip and returned alive. Who was the first person to circumnavigate the Earth? And that's for Keystone.
Magellan.
Because of the technicality I mentioned, it is not Magellan, so Clearview may answer it. Again, Magellan sailed more than halfway in two trips from different directions, died before completing the second, but who was the first one who did it in one trip and returned alive is the question. And if we don't have an answer, I'll have to rule that the time has passed. It was Sir Francis Drake. And this one goes first to Clearview. Entomology, spelled E-N-T-O-M-O-L-O-G-Y, is the study of what large group within the phylum Arthropods? Entomology is the study of what?
Insects.
Insects is correct. The bonus question for Clearview is, a similar sounding word for a very different area of investigation is a study of word origins and meanings. What is that word and how is it spelled? It sounds like entomology, but it's slightly different and has a different spelling, and we need the spelling as well as the name. The study of words, word meanings, and origins. And we know
Anthropology.
And that's etymology, so an incorrect answer and no score. E-T-Y-M-O-L-O-G-Y is the study of words and their meanings. But this goes back to Keystone first. Which amendment to the Constitution contains the line, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion? That's part of which amendment?
The first.
That's a correct answer. And Keystone's bonus question for the bonus points, what constitutional amendment reads in part, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects? relating to search and seizure?
Fifth. The fourth.
I think I heard fifth first. Yeah, and it is the fourth, so we can't give the bonus points. For the team now, first to Clearview, who was the first president of Indonesia. He served as president from 1945 to 1967. The first president of Indonesia. And with no answer from Clearview, does Keystone have the answer? And I guess not.
Sukarno.
The Sukarno was right. Okay, Sukarno was correct. Bonus question for Keystone. Sukarno was implicated in an attempted communist coup in 1965 and was gradually ousted by what political leader? So Sukarno was ousted by another leader with a name that was not that different. But if you don't know it, you don't have it. Suharto was his name. Moving on to the next question, which first goes to Keystone. It's the Greek word for high city. It was the fortified hilltop site of an ancient Greek city. Name this sanctuary for city gods and religious ceremonies. The Greek word for high city. And its ruins are there today. Say it again.
The Agora.
So I'm hearing two answers. What's the answer?
The Agora.
It's Acropolis. I don't think what we heard was close enough. Acra was the root word, but the name for the sanctuary for the gods was Acropolis. So we can't score on that one.
It's time.
Oh, and it is time. You know, I should have given that question to the other team, and that's my mistake. Maybe I should give the one additional question to Clearview because of that. Do the judges concur on that?
Yeah, I would concur.
I have no problem with it.
I concur.
Clearview, 3 deciliters is how many liters? 3 deciliters equals how many liters?
30.
30 is right. And the bonus question, speaking metrically, 1 quintal is equal to how many kilograms? A quintal, Quintal.
100.
And 100 is the answer for your last 20 bonus points. And as we heard, it is the end of the contest. Final score from David after a couple of short messages.
Why do you want to go to college? To become something more? To find your line and go beyond it? To make someone's life better? To start on a path to a productive career? That's why the University of Findlay is here. Since 1882, a community of passionate learners, inspiring the best in each other. Learn more at findlay.edu.
Entering the final round, the score was Clearview 160, Keystone 140. Then the winning team earned an additional 110 points. So at the final, whatever that sound was, the score was Keystone 140, Clearview 270. Our winner is Clearview.
So congratulations to Clearview. We would have a big burst of applause, but we don't have an audience except for you at home. So, or if you're in your car, keep your hands on the wheel. Otherwise, you can applaud. But we will be back next week with another competition, and we will be smooth as ever. And on each Scholastic Games program, our judges and scorekeepers select a standout scholar, the student who contributed the most to his or her team. A $50 prize goes with that, and our standout scholar is Sophia Calez of Clearview High School. And Sophia, congratulations. And that's the end of this week's program. I'm Jim Merling, and we hope you'll join us next time. Our defending champion, Avon Lake, and Oberlin High School will be on next week. We hope you'll be listening then. Till then, thanks so much for listening.
You've been listening to the Scholastic Games of Lorain County. Produced by Jim Merling, co-written by Bob Tayak. Production assistance was provided by AAME Coca ML and Richard McDaniel. Support for the program comes from the Community West Foundation, utilizing grants from the Nordson Corporation, the Alfred T. Askew Fund, administered by the Community Foundation of Lorain County, and the Nord Family Foundation. We're sponsored on WEOL by the Elyria Public Library System. And this is David Mark.